Hi everybody, Richard Tromans here again, Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're doing another product walkthrough. This time we're looking at Chamelio, and to tell us a bit more about it is Gil. Hey Gil.
Hi, Richard. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a big fan of Artificial Lawyer, so it's great to be doing this.
Thank you.
Um,
Well, good to have you on the show. Before we get into the actual walkthrough of the product, could you just tell us a bit about yourself and the company?
sure. So I am a licensed attorney. I spent close to a decade as an in-house counsel in several tech companies. And about 18 months ago, I started Chamelio together with two other partners of mine. And we are building AI exclusively for in-house legal teams. We are very bullish on in-house legal teams with the emergence of AI, and that's our target. And our entire product, our entire thesis is based upon the notion that in-house legal team have a very valuable and unutilized asset, which is all the work that they already done, all those
Mm,
past
mm,
contracts, those drafts, those memos, those legal opinions, and whatnot. They hold very valuable data that could be utilized much better. And that's what, at the core of it, that's what we are doing at Chamelio. We are trying to um, get that data, extract the legal know-how out of that data, and index it in a way that would allow us to apply our AI on it to assist with the future work. And we believe that by doing so, we are creating a hyper-personalized approach and solution which works best for in-house legal teams.
got you. Sounds good. Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Okay, I will disappear, and if you'd like to move into the walkthrough.
Sure, thank you. And I am just going to share my screen. So the first component of our system is called the core, and the core is our version of a smart repository. And this allows you to get all your documents into our repository, and they will get automatically indexed. Out of the box, we create and extract close to 40 data points from all your documents. And first of all, this allows you to search freely through your vast repository of documents, find whatever it is that you're looking to find very easily using natural language, which might sound trivial, but it's quite a struggle for many in-house legal teams. Particularly if you're talking about teams who handle enterprise teams who handle tens of thousands of documents in the repository. So finding what you need is the first thing that you can do, but it's definitely not the last. You can start creating what we define as living collections of documents. So let's say I filter my MSAs out of this repository. Let's add another filter. Maybe let's do the effective date. So agreements signed in the last year. And now I have a snapshot as of today of all my MSAs that were signed in the last 12 months. I can save that as a collection and call it Artificial Lawyer MSA collection. And if I leave the is live toggle on, it means that this collection will now start updating itself automatically, which means that whenever a new contract is added to the repository that meets this criteria, is going to be automatically added to this collection. Whenever an old contract no longer qualifies, it's taken out automatically. Obviously, you can pile up as many filters as you would like, and this allows you to really create monitoring capabilities on your obligations, on your rights, and on anything that you would like to track in your documents. Now, in addition to viewing that in this spreadsheet style of view, you can also set rules, which means that you can define that whenever a new contract is pushed into this collection, a certain person in your company will receive a notification via email or Slack or any communication channel that you use. So if you need to update different teams that are not necessarily the legal teams of different things that are going on in your contracts, you can do that automatically. And this is a big thing that is happening mostly manually in most companies, could be now automated almost completely. Now, You can use the 40 filters that we provide out of the box, but obviously you can create any custom field that is important to you. So for example, let's call this one marketing use. And then I need to define what format I would like to respond to be. It could be a text, a number, a date, a yes/no response, or a selection of predefined options that I provide. Let's use yes/no for this one and just ask, can I use the customer's logo for marketing purposes? And I'm sending the AI to search through my collection of documents, and a new column is being created, and it will start responding on whether I can use the customer logo or not. It will take a second and it will start populating. And what I can do with that, in addition to, first of all, understanding what I can and cannot do, I can obviously go in and see the different responses and reasoning that the AI provided to the different questions and data points. I can look into the actual document, and I can also now filter by this new column, which means that I can create a collection that includes only the MSAs that allow me to use the customer logo, and then I can automatically notify the marketing group whenever a new contract is signed that permits me to use the customer logo for marketing purposes, or any other data point that you need to notify any other team. And this is this part of the system. Another thing that you can utilize your repository for is to build AI-powered playbooks for future negotiations. So I can take my collections of MSAs, for example, and turn them into an AI-powered playbook. This playbook is created automatically by our AI, and it's pretty comprehensive. It includes a long list of instructions that the AI will then use to review future contract. You can see that every instruction will show what my preferred position is, and it will also show if I have any alternative position available based on my past contracts. So I can have a few positions for each specific legal concept, which allows me really advanced capabilities when it comes to reviewing contracts. So the playbooks is being generated automatically based on your data. And now I will jump into the second part of the system, which allows you to take all of this knowledge into Microsoft Word. And you can use our Microsoft Word add-in, first of all, to review a contract based on your AI-powered playbooks. So first thing that happened, the AI will split the document into its different components. We see that we have an MSA, we have a confidentiality obligation exhibit, we have a DPA, and so on and so forth. This allows me to apply several playbooks to the documents and apply playbooks to different parts of the contract. So let's select the MSA for this purpose. We hit next, then we see the list of available playbooks. We apply the MSA playbook that we just watched, and we hit review, and the AI is off to the races, starting to go over the contract, and will start coming up with recommendations on how to amend this contract. This process takes between a minute or two, I would say, to complete, but once done, this is the result. We get a list of issues that needs to be addressed. We have two types of issues. We have failed issues, which are indicated by the red line on the left-hand side. And these mean clauses that require some sort of amendment because they do not comply with your playbook. When you go in, the relevant clause will be highlighted and you see the proposed amendment. Everything that we do at Chamelio will always come, every recommendation will always come with a reference to the source, so you can understand why it did what it did. So you see we have those footnotes here. If you hover over them, you can see the playbook instructions that were used to generate this amendment. So we see it was generated to Florida laws, which is our preferred position. And we can scroll down and start changing our position and customizing it based on our specific needs and circumstances of the negotiation. So first of all, this entire text box obviously is completely editable. You can add text, you can just right click and dismiss suggestion altogether. Another thing you can do you can explore your different alternatives. So if you have alternative positions in your past contracts, you can just select them. So I have my preferred position here of Orlando, Florida as the jurisdiction, but I can select arbitration in Wilmington, which apparently is in 80% of my past contract. Just select that and ask the AI to generate a new red line. And in a couple of seconds, we will see a new red line here based on the new selection that we just did. We can also just toggle off any playbook items that we do not want to be applied here. So you have a lot of options on how to customize the position to your needs. Another thing that we have here, obviously always available, is the AI assistant. You can just bring that up and request it to do anything that you would like it to do. Change this, make that more aggressive, make it mutual, remove these items, and so on and so forth. It's always available. You can use that to request anything that you need. Another complementary thing that we do here is just generate a comment that tries to not only describe the change that we are proposing, but explain why we're doing that and why it is needed. And if we are good with that, we can just insert that into the document, just like the actual red line, which could be applied in track changes very, very easily. Now, so far we covered the red items, which are the failed items. Another type of item is the yellow one, the missing ones. These are items that your playbook requires, but that the agreement is completely silent on, which means that the AI proposes to add a new clause into the contract. Now, it drafts the clause taking into account the context of the document, the different definitions, and so on and so forth. It also tried to predict the best location in the document to add the new clause. You see that it highlighted this section because it proposes to add the new clause right after that. We can obviously change that and select any location that we would like. Just put the cursor at the desired place, hit insert, and the new clause will be added. And this is so far the playbook-based review. Now, in addition to that, we have additional capabilities that are available to you, more agent-style capabilities. First of all, we have the agent. The agent is pretty close to a deep search AI capability that we know in models such as O3 and the likes. This allows you to run pretty complex tasks that span over the entire document, requires amendments of analysis and amendment of several parts of the document. So the AI could be utilized for that. For example, we could ask, compare the parties' liabilities from most imbalanced to most balanced and rank them. And now we are sending the AI to search through the document, look for the parties' liabilities, and list them from most imbalanced to most balanced. This takes a couple of seconds to complete because this is a more deep analysis and deep research that it is doing on the document. While doing that, the AI will show and explain the process. It will show the different questions that it is asking, the thought process that it is taking, and the plan that it comes up with to solve the task that I just presented. We see that we have different questions that the AI just presented to itself. It's thinking through it. In a couple of seconds, we will start getting the response, which will show us how the AI ranked the different liabilities from most imbalanced to most balanced. So we'll give it a couple of seconds and we'll see that. So we see that it already considered the question, and then now it's starting to implement and execute on the plan that it came up with. Sorry for the long wait, guys, but this is a deep process.
No, it's good. It's more real. It's good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're starting to see some results here, and we see that the limitation of liability is extremely imbalanced. And we have the assignment right, which is highly imbalanced, and we see that again, each response comes with this footnote, which will take us to the right place in the contract, so we could validate the AI response, make sure that it did the right work. And you can just scroll through the different changes that the different provisions that the AI extracted, and we can continue working with it. Now I can ask it to generate amendments to amend them to make them more balanced. I can ask to draft comments for the other party to explain why these are not acceptable. You can pretty much do whatever it is that you need to do as part of your normal legal work, and the AI will assist you in doing that. So this agent, as I mentioned, is capable of reviewing a contract, generating red lines, generating comments, reading red lines, things that might sound trivial, to a living, breathing lawyer, but are pretty complex when it comes to AI. So that's the agent. In addition to that, we have more targeted and specific agents always available, such as an agent that provides summaries, any type of summary. Just go to the summary agent and it will provide it. You have the ask agent, which allows you to ask any question on the document and get it in a really easy to digest format. So for example, I can ask, what are Chamelio's insurance requirements? And send the AI to search through the document and come up with a response. And in a couple of seconds, we will get the response. And here we will see that the response comes in two parts. First of all, we will have a very short and concise answer that just explain the essence of what are the requirements. And if that's not enough, as we will see in a second, so here is the short answer, a short, concise summary of the insurance requirement. If you want additional information, you can go into the long answer, which comes with a lot more information with all the references, so we could validate and make sure that the AI didn't miss anything. So that's the ask question. And last but not least is the request agent, which allows us essentially to ask for bespoke amendments to a specific clause. So I can just highlight a clause, click the T icon here, which pulls that text into the context. You see that the text is written here now. Now they understand that we are working on this clause. And I can just ask, for example, add standard exclusions. So even if I don't know what the standard exclusions are for a most favored customer clause in this case, I can ask the AI for assist, and the AI will take into consideration that this is an MSA, that I'm the selling party in this MSA, and it will think what are the best exclusion to add in this type of agreement under these circumstances. We see that we also see the plan that the AI puts for itself. And in a couple of seconds, we are receiving the proposed red line, which is pretty nice given that initially I did not know what standard exclusions are. I can just hit apply and it will be added to the agreement. That sums it up, Richard, very briefly. Obviously, we are moving very fast, adding a lot of capabilities, and things are looking pretty exciting.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. And like the agentic abilities, which I think we're going to have to maybe have a completely separate discussion about another time, because that's like a whole other video to explore what it all means. But very, very interesting. And I like the way that it, even on the agentic bits, you're tapping the data that's already there, that's already been sort of partially curated to some degree. So it's not just going off and just randomly across every single document. It's kind of much more focused.
It's much more focused, and it basically allows you to pull in any piece of relevant data from your repository. So for example, I could just pull in my security policy and ask, is this agreement compliant with my security policy? Or just pull in a past contract and say, check what I agreed in terms of security in that contract and compare it to this new contract. So just using your old data, which holds a lot of knowledge, a lot of know-how, and just utilizing it for your daily work.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, let me just ask you some practical questions now. So let's say you're a lawyer watching this, or you're part of an innovation team or a legal ops team, and you say, this is great, I would like to bring this into my organization. How do they do it?
So you can just go into chamelio.ai and book a demo. One of the things we're putting a lot of emphasis on is to allow for a very frictionless implementation process. So unlike old technology, we do not require any manual tagging, any manual labor at all. Starting to use the product is very easy, and you can see value from day one. practically. So just go in, book a demo. We offer a free 14 days trial to try it out and see the value that it provides you with. And we're happy to accommodate any requests.
Fantastic. And what does this integrate with? Because presumably the in-house legal team will have some tech already floating around. What will it integrate with most of the things they have already?
So it will integrate with the most popular shared drives, Box and Google Drive and so on. It will integrate with the popular CRMs as needed, and with the communication channels such as Slack, for example.
Gotcha, fantastic. And just the last thing, and you don't have to mention a particular price or anything, but just so they can get a sense of what they'll be sort of buying. In terms of pricing, do you price it per document, per seat, per data? How are you doing this?
Yeah, so there are two factors that come into play when it comes to
Mm,
pricing. One is the size of the legal team,
mm,
and the other is the size of the repository and expected volume of documents that will fly through the system. Okay, now we look at these two factors. Not we're not pricing it or limiting it, more accurately saying, by seat, but we want to understand the expected volume of work, and the size of the team is a good indication of that, and the size of the repository is a good indication of that, and based on that we can price the product. To give a general outline, so it would range from a solo GC, something around $6,000 a year, and as the team is bigger and the volume of work and repository is larger, the price increases as well.
fantastic. Actually, just one question, quite a technical one, but it just came to mind. I mean, back in the day when in-house legal teams were still using paper contracts and then moved to quite sort of clunky, sort of photocopied PDFs and all that, I mean, which wasn't that long ago, really. And I'm sure some organizations still do that.
Yeah,
Um, how does that work? I mean, do you have to do an OCR process? Do you say, well, we'll only do the documents that are in good digital format? I mean, how do you have a deduplication process, etc. You the kinds of things I'm talking about. How do you make
that's
sure
a
we've got a
great
nice
question.
clean data set before we start, putting the AI onto it?
That's a great question, Richard. So we obviously, the better quality the document is, the better it is for the AI. But we are capable of working with scanned PDFs, editable PDFs, any Word document, docx, or the older formats.
Mm,
We're able to get them and index data out of them. And one of the things that people not talk enough about is the one of the major achievements of LLMs in general is very advanced OCR capabilities
mm,
that were
mm.
not available in the past. So we are pretty good in indexing even those old faxed contracts that were later scanned. It's doing a good job with it.
Yeah, I know it is incredible. Just as an aside, I put in a photograph of something I was cooking the other day, and it was very hard to see. It was basically a bunch of noodles and miso soup, and I just cut and pasted the picture into ChatGPT, and I just said, "What is this?" I didn't give it any clues at all. Like it could have been like a slice of a brain or something, and it described it perfectly. And it
Yeah,
even said, those look like spring onions to me.
yeah.
And that sauce, that's probably a miso sauce, miso soup sauce, which it just blew my mind that just from a single low resolution picture that was actually quite abstract, it looked like a Jackson Pollock picture.
That's a great exercise. And one of the exercises
Mm,
I always like to do in just showing the general capability is go into Google Earth, go
mm,
into just select a random address out there on the globe, take a screenshot of the street or whatever, wherever it is, okay?
mm.
Upload that screenshot to GPT and ask where is it. You will be amazed how accurate it is in
Yeah.
identifying place.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, roundabout way, I think we've answered the question about OCR and sort of in the old days, that used to be one of the things that used to trip up some of the old machine learning, natural language processing softwares. But now, yeah, I mean, there must be very few documents that it can't actually handle.
True, true. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we could keep talking forever. It's a very, very fascinating subject, but we've got to leave it there. But thanks, Gil, and look forward to hearing more about you.
Thank you, Richard. It's great.